Noor. And it really just struck me. Some of you may know it already. Once upon a time, in a far-off land, there was a king. And this king had 12 children. There were 11 sons, and one, the youngest, a daughter. And some storytellers say that this daughter's name was Diana, and some storytellers say that this daughter's name was Susan. But some storytellers say that this daughter's name was Noor. And it came to pass over the years that the queen died. And the whole kingdom was terribly sad and mourned her very deeply, except for one sorceress in the kingdom who wove an enchantment around the king to make him fall in love with her and marry her and bring her into the castle. Now this sorceress, when she married the king, was kind of jealous of the affection that the king showed to his children. So she cast a wicked and terrible spell upon them. But at the moment that she cast the spell, all 11 brothers were in the castle, but Noor was out playing in the woods. But Noor she felt a little tremor, a little like disturbance in the force, and came running back to the castle to see what was going on. And just as she caught sight of the castle, she saw 11 swans flying off and flying away. And something told her, there's bad magic going on here. This is bad magic. So she just turned around and ran straight back into the wood. And she ran, and she ran, and she ran, and she ran. She ran for hours, and she was cold, and she was alone, but she kept on running. And then eventually, just at that moment where the sun was setting and day was turning into night, in that golden hour of sunset, she came to a great lake in the woods. And just at that moment, 11 swans flew down and landed beside her and turned back into her brothers. And she turned to her brothers and said, "Oh, what's happened? What's happened to you?" And they said, "Our sister, a terrible magic has been woven upon us. And during the day, we must be swans. And during the night, we must be swans. But just in this one moment, in this transitional moment of sunset, we can turn into boys again." And Noor was horrified. And she said, "Is there anything I can do? Is there any way to break this spell?" And they said, "Our sister, we don't even want to ask this of you. But sometimes when adults have woven bad magic, it falls to a child to heal it. But the only way to break this spell is for you to weave each of us a shirt made entirely of nettles. And while you are weaving this shirt of nettles for each of us, you can never wipe the tears from your eye, and you can never say a word." And Noor didn't say a word. She just nodded her head. And from that moment, she began gathering nettles. And she began weaving and weaving and weaving the shirts. And no matter how much the nettles stung her, or no matter how many times the shirts just disintegrated in her hands, she never wiped the tears from her eyes, and she never said a word. And the days passed, and she kept working. And the weeks passed, and she just kept working, and the months and the years passed, and she just kept weaving and weaving and weaving. And gradually, kind of the spirit and the atmosphere of the castle that she grew up in kind of faded away, and the spirit of the forest where she was living just kind of crept into her, and she became a kind of strange creature of the forest, just weaving these shirts over and over and over again, and working away, until one day, she heard a sound. And a horse rode up, and this horse was ridden by a prince. And this prince had become separated from his hunting friends, and he came upon her, and he just was very stunned by this strange creature weaving her shirts. And he said, "Sorry, my lady, what are you doing?" And she just looked up at him, and she couldn't say a word. She just kept weaving and weaving and weaving. Now the prince, he had some wisdom in him, and he sort of said, "Look, I don't quite understand what's going on here, but I can sense there's some serious magic happening, right? There's an energetic charge. I know I don't understand what's going on, but maybe you'd like to continue this work in my castle. and just come back with me, and at least you'll have a roof over your head. And Noor didn't say a word, but she just nodded her head, and the prince took her off to his castle. And in the castle, she just kept weaving and weaving the nettles and weaving the nettles, and no matter how much they stung her, no matter how much the shirts disintegrated, she never said a word. She never wiped the tears from her eyes. She just kept on with her quiet work. And the prince observed this and how she worked, and he'd never seen anything like that before. And it reminded him of a kind of a purity that he might have known many years before, but had lost. And he began to fall in love with her. And eventually he said, "My lady, I know we haven't spoken a lot, but would you marry me?" And Noor couldn't even say yes, but she nodded her head. Now, word got around about the prince's love for this strange forest nettle-weaving creature. And the kind of advisors of the prince, the courtiers, began to get jealous, thinking that she would whisper in his ear and exert power over him. So they started spreading rumors about her, and they accused her of being a witch. And they sent the guards to arrest her as a witch. Now the prince was distraught over this. He was so upset. And he said, "My love, just speak, just explain what's going on, and they'll leave you alone." But of course Noor couldn't speak. She just had to keep weaving the shirts. And when they sent the guards to arrest her, she just stayed silent. And when they put her on trial, she just kept weaving the shirts silently. And when they brought her eventually out to the stake to burn her, she just kept weaving. But just at that moment, when her back was against the wooden post, she heard another sound, which was and 11 white swans swooped down, and she threw a shirt over each one, which she had just finished, and each one turned back into the young men that they truly were. And finally, Noor was able to turn and speak the words and explain what she had been doing. And the prince and her were married, and all lived happy from that moment because of the quiet, silent courage of one child.
Thank you, Noor.